Hey everyone, this is Bob Pulver from Elevate Your AIQ. We are back for day 2 at Unleash America in Las Vegas. And this morning I have the pleasure of talking to Yaz Dalal from Joveo. How you doing today?
I'm doing real well, Bob.
Glad we finally got to meet face to face.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time in the talent technology world. I wanted to talk to you about, you guys just came out with some new capabilities around AI interviewing, which is really hot within the talent technology landscape. And so I want to understand how this fits into Joveo's portfolio at the top of the funnel. Certainly, I appreciate any candidate getting more opportunity, more visibility to go far beyond the resume and present their three-dimensional selves. And I know that's important to you guys as you think about candidate experience and career sites and employer branding and all of that, and just making the top of the funnel much more impactful. And so I thought we could unpack that and let you explain a little bit about your philosophy around the genesis of your capabilities. And yeah, so I thought, Yaz, we could just start with a little bit about you and your background in the space. I know it goes back a ways.
It does. I mean, you and I were talking.
Monster days.
I'm a New Yorker, born and raised, and then spent 17 years in Massachusetts. And you are a Massachusetts person who then ended up in New York.
Exactly.
We'll keep our baseball loyalties out of this conversation, maybe.
Yes, probably for the best.
But yeah, so I'm born and raised in New York, and as you rightly said, one of my first jobs in my career was at Monster.com. So really at the advent of the internet back in the late 90s. And have been working in the TA or HR tech space ever since. I did a stint in a recruitment marketing agency. Pre-cloud, I was at Oracle in their HR software business in Singapore for a number of years.
Oh, wow.
At the beginning of cloud technology, moved to Accenture, where I ran an HR tech practice for them for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So got to see all of these kind of paradigms shifting. And then the last couple of years, there's no escaping artificial intelligence.
Yep.
And when I was looking for what organization I wanted to be a part of and what rocket ship I wanted to join, that was at that intersection of talent and artificial intelligence, I chose Joveo. And you were asking me about sort of the genesis of that and the evolution of where we've come from. Joveo started 8 years ago because our founder, KJ Jain, had a kind of something stuck in his craw about it's ridiculous when companies say they can't find the right people.
Yeah.
Or when people say, I can't find the right job. He said that should be unacceptable with the state of tech, and that there is a job for everyone. Actually, Joveo is a contraction of job for everyone. Okay.
I did not know that. Very clever.
And the ambition that he continues to have and has had all these years is, with the pace of change in technology, we should become so good at targeting the right candidate in the right place at the right time that the volume of spend that big companies make casting these huge nets to grab all sorts of the wrong fish should go away. Ultimately, the right candidate applying for a job, you should see for one job, 4 clicks, 3 applications, 2 shortlisted, 1 hire. 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the vision. And to do that, we built the advertising platform that we have. It's an AI-led advertising platform for jobs. The entire internet is our job board.
Okay.
Even offline, connected TV, all of that in-game advertising. If you're playing FIFA on your Sony PlayStation. But the premise is, once you do that, we're in the business of helping our clients spend less money to find the right people. Once you bring them in, the right candidates, where they land is also important. And so to answer your question about the portfolio that we've built.
Yeah.
At the top of the funnel, attraction is one piece. Where are you sending them? We want to send them to a rich, engaging destination, whether that's your career site, whether that's a landing page. And then once they're there, how do we remove as many obstacles as possible to get the best candidates who are low intent to start and complete an application process? And with all the tech that we have today, why doesn't AI through an agent play a role in that? So for instance, if you go to one of our favorite clients, one of our most demanding clients, I didn't say painful this time, Uber, demanding clients, go to jobs.uber.com. Beautiful career site, loads really fast, and a low intent person gets there and says, I wonder what I should be doing here. And at the bottom is Uber Sidekick. That's powered by Joveo. It's a conversational AI that's going to guide you with warm, engaging, relevant questions and answers to the right role that you can apply to. So when we say that we're moving further towards the middle of the funnel, it's only because we want to convert the right applicants that we've spent money to capture. So an AI interviewer, which we launched yesterday here at Unleash, is a huge part of that. So AI interviewer is basically going to the next level and saying, how do we remove this huge administrative burden that we have on recruiters around doing first round screening? or first round interviews, which is really just a nicer form of screening. And how do we do it in a way that's engaging for the candidate, where they feel like, well, this organization actually is responsive.
Yeah.
I only just sent in my application yesterday, or even just now, and I'm already having a back and forth with an avatar that's asking me questions in a friendly, warm, engaging way. Importantly, asking the same questions in every interview so that there's consistent assessment.
Yeah.
And on the back end for the recruiter, not only is that interview capturing consistent information, but it's also delivering insights so that while the entire TA team is sleeping, this volume of applicants is getting through that first round of processing. And by the way, what an amazing candidate experience.
Yeah.
So I give you a super long answer, but for the candidate, imagine if every single candidate for a job got interviewed regardless of their quality. Two things happened. One, super strengthening for your employer brand.
Yep.
What if there was something missing on paper that reveals itself in that first line of screening?
Yeah. CV is two-dimensional, but it's all the things that you did that are not part of your job description. They're certainly not self-evident in the titles that you've had in prior roles. And so really you've got the extracurriculars that can come out through this process, the personality in some ways, and really just a deeper understanding of who this individual is. And in doing so, it's not just a better candidate experience. You're literally exhibiting respect and trying to earn the trust of these candidates.
So huge. Otherwise, isn't the de facto state is being ghosted?
Yeah.
You submit, you assume you'll be ghosted.
Yeah.
Do you remember the concept of video CVs? There was a brief moment in time where people thought, oh, latency on the internet has gone down so much, we can send video resumes of ourselves. You know why it didn't take off? Not everyone's good on video. You have no idea what you're going to get, but definitely no one is going to have time to ever look at a single one of those. One of the amazing outcomes of an AI interview service like what we're providing is every applicant essentially is now delivering to you a really bespoke, tailored to your, as an employer, your requirements, a bespoke video CV. If you have 5 questions in there and it's consistent across all the applicants for that role, that level, that geography, every applicant is now submitting. So imagine you have an engineer on paper is average. You have another engineer on paper is stellar. But the video that you receive, one is an average engineer with amazing storytelling and one who can't get a word out. You wouldn't pick that up from a 2-dimensional CV.
Sure. Right. And then you've got a quality funnel earlier in the cycle, so that you're not wasting anyone's time. I mean, this is a win-win for both the recruiting team and
100%.
The candidate. And then if it's not a good fit, if it's not going to be a mutually beneficial relationship, then you move on. No hard feelings. But at least you've been given the opportunity, and you're not sitting there ruminating on your life and your potential to succeed and move into the next step in your career is not dictated by this black hole.
I totally agree with you. And I would say for TA leaders and recruiters who are looking at tools like this, don't get tricked by the nomenclature. It's not WYSIWYG. So AI interviewing or AI interviewer doesn't just mean an interview that's taking place through AI. The beauty of it, if it was really WYSIWYG, the naming, it would be an AI interview with consistent questions that structures the data that comes out of the conversation that you're having with the candidate, provides you with insights so you can make better hiring decisions. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You call it AI interviewer for short. The value is the structured data and the insights.
Yeah. So as we mentioned at the beginning, this is a hot area. There's a lot of startups and established vendors in the space that are building these kinds of capabilities. What were some of the key elements of when we say interviews? Because there's a lot of people have taken different approaches to this. Some is maybe geared towards high volume hiring and hourly work, and therefore you got to prioritize mobile, the experience on a mobile device, AI avatars, and whether or not candidates will be sort of accepting of that kind of interaction. Do they actually need to see some anthropomorphic version of a recruiter versus just doing over voice or over text or whatever? So how did you think about which priorities, which capabilities, and which formats to prioritize?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, there's probably 2 very significant things that set us apart in terms of how we determine what we're going to build and how we build it. I'd say the very first and most important is close to 80% of all the innovation that we build and deliver comes from conversations we've had with our existing clients or requests that we hear from our existing clients. And I think that's really important because we don't want to just build and then test and get a reaction. We also want to be inspired by some of the use cases that our clients are bringing to us. And our most progressive and sophisticated clients are really looking to the future to figure that out. And I'll talk about that in a moment. The second differentiator we have is we are a dyed-in-the-wool software and engineering AI-led company, first and foremost.
Yeah.
There are more engineers and product leaders at Joveo than there are at our next 5 competitors combined. There's about 110 of them. That is a major differentiator for us because when we do take input from our clients, which is every day, we have this amazing pool of brilliant resources who can get to work immediately to get to a minimal viable product, test it out, mock it up, see what reaction we get. And if it's positive, we make a market for it. So AI interview is a great example of that. So what are the use cases that comes from? One, the pace and scale at which things are moving. Our clients want to be better prepared for that.
Yep.
So the number of applicants we've seen between 2022 and 2024 that have gone through our system's gone up by 9x for 15 different roles. You can learn more about that on our website. We've got a whole recruiting insights benchmark for that. So how do they manage scale? You also have, and it contributes to the scale, fake applications and bots.
Yeah.
So that's another challenge that has to be addressed. Then it's uncovering, in the example I gave, the okay engineer with great communication skills. How do we uncover that early so that we can get that person moving along? How do we strengthen our employer brand by delivering a great experience that's a non-ghosting experience for candidates? So when our clients consider these types of parameters, how do we take structured data out of a first-line screening and turn that into insights? When our customers look at these use cases combined, then a tool like AI Interviewer actually meets all those requirements. Because one of the easiest ways to determine whether somebody's a bot is to see them in action.
Right.
Ask them questions and see their instant response. Right. The easiest way to determine whether someone meets your screening credentials, ask them the questions. Do it, as soon as possible after they've applied.
Yeah.
Do it early. So we're trying to satisfy a number of use cases with a single solution.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a comprehensive lens to say, look, we know we're going to combat some of the negative patterns that we're seeing in terms of the fraud. We know AI is actually going to get more sophisticated even on the candidate side, where it's going to attempt to, someone's got their own agent to try to, take a video interview. There's another one that's going to try to have a conversation or whatever. And so, but there are also opportunities to sort of, flag some of those things at each phase. But at the end of the day, you're still mitigating the chance that, really unqualified candidates or candidates that are not actual human beings are getting through the funnel. So you're just, you're putting up some barriers, but you're not, I won't say they're necessarily frictionless, but with the minimum friction possible, you're adding some of these steps.
I'll give you one more use case, which I think is important from the recruiter and the organizational perspective, which is in addition to evaluating candidates, this provides a capability to evaluate your own process, to evaluate the questions that you're asking, that you can then take the 3 months of that data and put it into an LLM and say, based on these 500 interviews, how can we change the way we ask question 2 to get them to talk longer because they're only giving 5-word answers?
Yeah.
Or what are we learning further down funnel that we could have covered at this stage if we'd asked one more question and had that analysis run? So that provides you with deep insights on this treasure trove that you're building of knowledge.
Yeah. So as a candidate is answering these questions, it's basically structured in the sense that you're trying to get at the same information, but it's also flexible enough that you may have to ask a question a slightly different way or to probe a little further to extract a little bit more detail on context.
This is a very important point. So what we're not doing is question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. There is an iterative aspect because depending on the response that the applicant provides, the interviewer with natural language and all of our clients can choose the tone of voice as well.
Okay.
So it can go from formal and structured to casual and fun. Don't recommend that necessarily for an early screening.
Yeah.
To put the candidate at ease. And if they didn't get a relevant answer to say in a warm tone of voice, I see where you were going with that, but let me ask the question a different way, or let me reframe what you said and maybe you can confirm that for me. And that way we make sure that just because someone didn't pick up the clue or maybe the question's not correctly worded, that we don't miss out on a good candidate as a result.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Well, one of the other things that I wanted to just mention, like there was a new report that came out around AI interviewers that you guys were a part of through my friends at Kyle & Co. Great report. If for those who haven't read that yet, they just came out. I think it was in the last couple of weeks. There's a whole report on AI interviews, and Joveo was highlighted there. So definitely one of the more forward-thinking, solutions. I know you guys have really built this out with a really logical sort of philosophy about a quality of hire and the quality of your funnel, while also improving the candidate experience and really the recruiter experience as well. So this is not just about efficiency. This is about the effectiveness of your recruiting engine and all the talent acquisition pieces that go along with that. So very exciting times.
You know what? You and I were talking about Monster.com and starting my career in the 90s. One of the things that hasn't changed since then, and I learned this as a 24-year-old starting out in talent acquisition services, the three major parameters that we want to solve for employers is time, cost, and quality, and all the KPIs that go along with those three parameters.
Mhm.
But for 30 years, what often got lost was the candidate experience. And I think organizations didn't worry about that so much because the ability for candidates to interact and share their experiences was limited, even in a post-internet world. Today, if you're a high-volume employer or recruiter and you aren't providing a positive experience right from screening, there is a forum on Reddit just for those roles at your company. And one of the first questions they're asking is, what's the interview process like? And there's no filter on Reddit. So they're going to get straight truth that either it's great, I was fast and I liked it and I got to talk to a human within a week, or they made me talk to a robot and it was boring and I didn't get to really represent myself because I didn't understand the questions and the whole thing sucked. And as the volume of this kind of communication goes up, your employer brand risks getting dented.
Yeah.
And here's an easy, fast way to provide a positive experience, reduce the ghosting experience for candidates, help them show their best selves by being on video, answering questions that allow you to screen in the best people, and while still delivering a nice experience to the people that don't qualify, get them out fast.
What's funny is, let's assume you're a candidate and you don't get ghosted and you do get to talk to someone or something. I haven't done a lot of interviewing recently, but I have definitely had recruiter phone screens, as the industry would call them, where the human being couldn't have been more robotic, to your example before. Like, thank you for that. Thank you for that. It's like, am I actually talking to a human or not? So
Yeah.
the humans have become too robotic, and now the robots have become more.
There is
human-like.
And there is an uncanny valley aspect that I will also say we want to avoid. So what you won't hear the Joveo AI interviewer do is this. Great question. Robots don't breathe. And we are seeing more and more voice AI trying to simulate unnecessary human traits like breathing.
Yeah.
In the name of, I don't know, comfort or warmth, just like Uncanny Valley in a movie creeps you out a little bit.
Yeah.
This also has that risk factor. So
Yeah.
we're sensitive to these things. Tone of voice, warmth, yes. Morphism to the respiratory level, no.
Yeah, fair. No, I agree with that. Yeah. Really, really interesting. Yes, thanks for so much for spending some time with me and taking me through your latest and greatest at Joveo. Very exciting times. Best of luck to you guys. I'm still wrapping my head around the fact that Yaz is a Yankee fan. Just being
that lived in Massachusetts,
growing
and
up
you
in-
are a Sox fan who lives in New York.
Yeah.
He lives in Westchester, New York, and says go Sox. So I'll let your audience decide how they feel about that.
Can't get rid of the Bostonian. So yes, thank you again.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
You too, buddy. Thanks, Bob.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you next time.